Today's the day, man. I do hate waiting. So in a good way, I'm happy that it's a 3 o'clock start for the Guardians and the Tigers today. The disrespect that we don't get any freaking night games, but whatever. Today is the day, man. Another one. Guards have the pitching matchup. You want to know why? Because I don't even know who the Tigers are throwing yet. You're going to go with Holton? You're going to go with somebody else as an opener? We'll see. Cobb is on the hill. Zach Meisel with a great article this morning on The Athletic. Alex Cobb been waiting for this, man. He has been waiting for 11 years to get this start for the Guardians today. You give him the ball, you look to the offense, get up there to Detroit, and send a message to those freaking Tigers. Take control of this series on back. Let's get ready to go for the ALCS. By the way, ALCS tickets go on sale today for the Guardians. They do that just because they want to make sure that they're ready to go. But nonetheless, huge day today for the Guards at 3 o'clock, so plenty of baseball to come up. We got to talk Browns. I've got trade scenarios out the wazoo right now. Yeah, Watson's contract is getting brought up yet again. We got Browns with Noah joining us right now. We'll get to all that. Grid, timeout, morning update. Wednesday, playoff baseball, baby, right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler, and we get right to it this morning with Noah Weiskopf joining us from the OBR at Browns with Noah, Twitter, Instagram. Noah, why do they keep putting us at 3 o'clock, man? I like the night games. I guess I don't got to wait around, but they better win, because if not, it's going to ruin the rest of my evening, man.
It's like night games in the NFL. Like, you just wait around all day. You're watching other games. 3 o'clock, like, here we go. It's like right here, a couple more hours.
Here we go. Well, no, we got to talk a lot of Browns. And the conversation we've had all this week, how bad the Browns look on offense, who's the problem. You know, I like the tweet this morning from Reflog, and we'll talk about it on the show, of the blame pie. Who you blaming on all this? So, no, I'll start right there. It's not ever just one thing. I know it's a lot. But how much of this do you think falls back on Deshaun Watson's shoulders about the ineptness of the Browns offense?
I don't think it's a majority. I wrote a column yesterday with the OBR talking about how it's not just, I mean, a lot of people, like you said, love this blame game. They love to blame the quarterback. And I really don't get the sense that this is all falling on his shoulders. There's so many other moving parts around him that need to be better for the team to succeed, including the offensive line. I think the coaching, I think the scheme, I think the defense needs to step up to be able to allow this offense to be successful and play complementary football. There's so many other things, and injuries, of course. There's so many other things that need to get better, need to get healthier outside of just the quarterback.
And yeah, that's where I want to go, because that article was great yesterday. Again, check it out on Noah's Twitter. It's pinned to his account at Browns with Noah. And it's easy because of the contract. It's easy because he is the quarterback. And listen, we all know that there's a massive amount of problems on this offense. But no, it's like, it was always going to fall on Watson. You know, I feel like, just again with the contract, with everything that we've built up, it's the easy answer. You know, it's easy for, and I respect Brian Baldinger a lot, to grab these clips. Is Deshaun going to yell at him, too, that he doesn't know football like the rest of us? Anyway, like, it's easy to grab these clips and say, dude, there's wide open guys on Jerry Jeudy on this mesh route. He's not seeing guys. Like, to just talk about Watson, is it that he has lost that presence because of the O-line? I thought that he didn't have his pocket presence because of the rust, because he wasn't in there. Now, no, I feel like he's lost his pocket presence because he has no faith in the offensive line.
Well, they're right. There is no really protection, right? Like, he's being hurried on most of his dropbacks. And then when he does have to throw it, you know, there's guys open, but he misses them. Or when he does throw it and there's someone open, it's a whole different story if they're going to catch it or not, right? The Browns lead the league in drops. So it's really just a culmination of everything up front in the pass catching room. Amari Cooper has not looked like himself ever since this year started. And frankly, ever since he decided to hold out that part in the offseason. So potentially you see, as this deadline gets closer, if the Browns keep losing, you're going to see more and more of these rumors and reports coming up. Like, are the Browns going to sell? Are they going to move on from Amari Cooper? And, you know, it really just depends on what it looks like. But every week it seems like they need to get back on track and start winning games, or else it's really going to be too late pretty soon.
You mentioned it there. Browns with Noah on Twitter. Noah Weiskopf joining us from the OBR. I've got two different articles about what the Browns could do. One of them is Amari Cooper. The other one was to go trade for Andre Dillard, an offensive tackle, to get him out of Green Bay to kind of maybe shore up that offensive line. Now, because Jack Conklin has not yet played this year. Like, Jed Wills is back in there. That's fine. But just with the trades, we don't know buy, sell, but do you think it's come to a point that Amari Cooper has to go? I mean, some people are thinking that he's actually hurting this offense. Just where do you think the Browns stand from a trade scenario right now?
Well, I think the Browns are very confident moving forward that they are going to get this thing turned around and start to get things back on track. I think there's no real doubt. And if there was, then I think there'd be questions at quarterback internally, which there's not. Deshaun Watson is their starter. They believe that they can get this thing turned around. I don't see, as of now, a move like Andre Dillard. I think that it would make more sense for them to bring in a veteran tackle who's a free agent rather than going out and trading for someone. There's definitely names there of older guys who may have been much, much better a couple of years ago who are still out there. We mentioned the example of a Jason Peters. I think there's those type of guys on the market. I do know there's one of those veteran tackles that there had been conversations that the Browns had turned down bringing him in as a free agent. So I don't know how interested they are in that. I do believe that they more want to just get healthy and believe in the guys that they have on their roster. And once they get healthy, I think they think this thing can get turned around.
So you said they've had conversation. Is it Bakhtiari?
No, okay. it was one. I was told it was one guy specifically.
Oh, okay. So you're not sure which guy. Okay. Yeah. Because guys like that are still out there, like Leno and Bakhtiari and all these guys. They're injured or a little bit older as it goes on. The other lightning rod this week has been Kevin Stefanski giving up play calling. And I think that is a non-starter for me, Noah. I trust Kevin Stefanski to get it turned around. People wanted Ken Dorsey fired. You want to give him play calling, not you, but the people out there that want to get that done. No, I don't think that solves much of making Kevin Stefanski give a play call. You want to start to get away maybe of what Ken Dorsey brought in here and go back to more of a Stefanski-led offense. That's fine. But I do not believe at all in giving Kevin Stefanski the ultimatum to give up play calling. Your thoughts on that?
I think that this is the ultimate example of people not knowing who to blame, so they're blaming everyone, right?
Sure.
The same fan wants Ken Dorsey fired, but also wants a change in play calling. The same fan wants Deshaun Watson to be benched and also Kevin Stefanski to be fired. Nobody really knows exactly who to blame it on, and there is no one to blame it on, right? I mentioned, it's a complete mix of all these different things, and so I think that's a prime example. I do think that play calling would be probably on my list at the top of most likely changes to come, because outside of that, they're not going to fire Kevin Stefanski. They're not going to bench Deshaun Watson. So outside of that, other than maybe adjusting the scheme a little bit to more fit Watson in the middle of the season, you look at the Jaguars game, they gave him those short passes early. The offense worked. I think they went on a 16-play scoring drive on the first drive of the game. You would imagine that they want to get back to that. And you look, I mentioned in there, but Sam Darnold in Minnesota, they've more or less resurrected his career. He's in that wide zone scheme. He's under center. He's handing it off. They have a good run game. They're able to pull it and run play action, get him on the move, get him comfortable, get him to hit open receivers. To me, that would make the most sense. But again, this new scheme that they've created is a mixture between Kevin Stefanski, Ken Dorsey, and Deshaun Watson. They all made it together in the offseason. So apparently there is belief that this can work and still get turned around. But I think that the key here is the shorter, get Deshaun Watson into a rhythm type throws early in the game.
To the injury front, Nick Chubb, obviously practice window open. Do you think he could play this weekend? I'm concerned about Denzel's hamstring. We know Miles is still banged up. Other guys coming out of that. Where do you think we stand with some of the biggest injuries for the Browns right now?
We should get updates today around noon from Kevin. But I think that Nick Chubb, I don't see a world in which he plays this weekend. Again, I think that this is really going to take its time in terms of getting him back out there. And what's really the rush, right? The running game is not the issue. Jerome Ford has been a pro. He's been really the positive of the offense in total. So there's really no rush to get him back out there and run him behind this offensive line at its current state. Denzel Ward, definitely a little concerning, especially with his history of soft tissue stuff. I think we'll have a better idea. He got some tests Monday and I believe Tuesday as well. but we'll get the full extent to that today, probably around noon.
Yeah, that's one for me. Like corners, you got to run. The hamstring is not a good thing. And we face this Philly offense that has, should get A.J. Brown back. They should have Devontae Smith back for this game. And you're going to have to go with MJ, who's getting picked on a little bit. Greg Newsome, they still got to cover Dallas Goedert. And that's where I get to this game this weekend, Noah. And it's like, the eternal optimist of like, we could just win this one and how big that would be if you could somehow beat Philly. The game is in Philly, which is even worse, in my opinion, for the Browns. But that opportunity is there to try to turn this around, to your point, and it could only take one game. It could just take the one thing with Deshaun Watson to turn this around, have that solid game. But no, I just feel like the fan base is in such a bad place right now where it's not going to be just one win to get us back on track. And we all feel it at 1-5 or 1-4. We fall to 1-5, then it is truly over. And I'll see where the Browns play it out. But that's why each one of these games, walking on eggshells, razor thin margin, it goes bad. Your season is literally on the line this Sunday.
Yeah, and I think it really is like a week-to-week schedule. It really is a week-to-week team, right? Like you have to win this weekend, and they're not looking forward. They're not looking behind them. And that is the mindset. And really with the NFL, like any team can win no matter what you say, right? Like you see these teams upsetting other teams every week. Anyone can win any given game. So they are going full go for this game. And not to mention, the Eagles haven't been what everyone expected either, right? Like their fan base and they haven't been and lived up to the expectations for Philadelphia football. So it really, the Browns have a chance, of course, and it is a really, really big game because if they keep losing, and I mentioned if the Browns lose like maybe two more games here, then you might be having to make a change of quarterback, regardless if you believe Deshaun is the issue or not. You can't go through a season with just losing every single game with a quarterback like that out there. So potentially they look at a situation where, we're going to sit Deshaun Watson down for maybe a couple weeks, and Kevin Stefanski makes it known that Deshaun is our starter. We're making a switch for a couple weeks. We're going to give Deshaun a breather. We're going to have him sit back and sort of take in 2 games from the sidelines. He's still going to be our backup, and then he's going to be a starter again. I think that would be the way you'd have to go about it because you can't just bench him for the rest of the year and then burn that bridge completely. Yeah,
that's the final thing I want to get to you with, Noah. If they do bench him, if that comes to that point, I would be of the belief that that's it. That's over. Like you're basically going to Odell Beckham him, send him away. We can't cut you yet. We'll get to the June 1 post designation there. We'll have to spread that cap hit over and all that. But you see it on the other side where if they do bench him, you don't think that is the giant X and it's all over. You could see him potentially coming back.
I think it depends on obviously what happens in those next however many games. But yeah, I think that there is a world in which Kevin Stefanski makes a smart decision in terms of talking publicly about what this looks like. And especially to Deshaun, I think that it would be really smart to make it known that he's still your starting quarterback, to not burn that bridge, but say that they believe it's in his best interest to sit back for a couple weeks, let Jameis go out there, and then put him back in after that, depending obviously on how that goes.
Noah, I got to ask you before you get out of here, and I don't expect you to have a concrete answer on this, but I would love your thoughts on this. I mean, we're having this discussion here of, whose call is it if it comes to the point of benching Deshaun Watson? Like, is it really Kevin's choice, or is this a Haslam thing where he's telling Kevin what he's got to do?
It's definitely, the last word is 100% Kevin Stefanski, but I will say that they have meetings with Kevin, Andrew, and Jimmy, and they talk through every single move, especially a move like that. The 3 of them will have a meeting in a room and discuss what the best option is and if everyone agrees with that decision. But I have a feeling that if Kevin really believes that that's the right move, I don't see a world in which Jimmy is like, no, we're not doing that, and override him. I think that Kevin has the last chance, and it's really his word.
Great stuff. Go read Noah's latest article up on the OBR. You can follow him on Twitter, X at Browns with Noah. It's not really all Deshaun's fault. We'll find out Sunday, man. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the game today. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
Of course. Thank you, guys.
There he goes, Noah Weiskopf. And yeah, I mean, he starts with that article. We'll get plenty of guards coming up as well. But a lot of what we talked about is true. We know that this is not all Deshaun Watson's fault. This is not all on him with the line, with the other stuff. And that's true, but it's the easiest thing. And I say easy because it's actually going to be the most impactful, but that's the easy answer. Your team is struggling. Your offense is struggling. It's going to fall back on the quarterback 100%. And let's not forget the reason that this is even an issue or a problem is because you've not ever seen it from Deshaun Watson. Look at Joe Burrow. They're 1-4 too. They've not won a lot of football games. Now that defense is trash, and they know it's not all Joe Burrow's fault, but there's no conversations about, well, I wonder if Joe Burrow is really the guy, because he has shown you that he is the guy. And that is the other thing that Deshaun Watson, throughout his time, whether it was the suspended year, the injured year last year, he's not shown you enough to fall back on, to feel good enough that he'll come out of it. Kevin Stefanski has. That's my biggest argument about play calling and why that's a non-starter for me about Kevin Stefanski. I've seen it. I know he can do it. Ryan, I don't know if Deshaun Watson can do it. I can't go back 5 years back to Houston. I can't go back to a quarter of football last year. I can't go back to an individual drive in this game or that to try to say, yeah, I feel good about my entire franchise resting on this one guy. That is the quarterback position. Quarterback in the NFL is the most important singular position in sports. It's undeniable. That's why they get paid the money they do, and that's why all the really good teams have a quarterback. We need to get there. I want to get there. You hoped it was Deshaun Watson. I've got nothing to prove to me that that is a fact. That's why we're here. If there was anything else to grab onto, then we'd be saying, no, maybe it is the offensive line. Maybe it is the play calling. But you start with the easiest thing, and the easiest thing is Deshaun Watson. Knowing that, yeah, there's a lot of other problems. But, bro, I saw it. Dave retweeted it. It's from Brian Baldinger yesterday. There was the route down in the red zone. Jerry Jeudy is wide. I'm stealing this from Emmett. Butt naked, wide open in the end zone on a mesh concept. Amari went in. Jerry went out. Commanders went with Amari. He's waving his arm. Watson looked at him, looked away, ran up and took a sack. That's not the O-line. The O-line protection was perfect on that play. Now, the issue, with, like we talked about with Noah, have we gotten to that? Remember when Baker Mayfield was in there and he was so, not afraid, but like nervous of the offensive line, where that clock keeps speeding up on him. And then when he actually got time, it was so shocking to him, he still made the wrong throw because he thought he was going to get buried. Thrown in the dirt, so he speeds his clock up, makes a bad throw, or the other side of it, they are in his face and he takes the sack. That's where we're at with Watson. And then when we sit there and keep analyzing this and keep asking him over and over about it, it's compounding the problem. No, I'm not going to sit there and say treat Deshaun Watson with kid gloves. I'm over that. I started this season with an extremely low bar, saying we got to rebuild Deshaun Watson. We're 5 games in, man. You've not rebuilt anything. You have not rebuilt anything with him, starting with his confidence. You know, the one Jonathan Allen come out with. I sent the clip out from our show yesterday. Commanders D lineman. It's all up here with Deshaun Watson. He said it's all above the shoulders right now. And we had that conversation yesterday that one of the mistakes that the Browns made in this whole thing was believing that Deshaun Watson could overcome all the things that have happened to him. Whether, again, brought on his own, I'm not making excuses for it, fine. They assumed he was going to move past that and get back to a good mental state to play football. He is not in a good mental state to play football right now. There's no start there. You cannot, physically, what is one thing? If you are entering the games mentally broken, it's only going to get worse. And even if it's like one throw from to go, oh man, all right, that feel. What do we talk about for the first couple games? Right, just one throw. I just want to see one throw to Jerry Jeudy, to Amari Cooper, hoping that can unlock some things. We saw some of that. Now it's gone. Did we see a throw in that Commanders game that goes, okay, all right, not one?
Well, you saw. Here's the thing: the throws that you've seen, and there's been a few throughout these first 5 weeks. But last year, I mean, the one touchdown to Jordan Akins, yeah, that's a great throw. But then again, look at the scenario that came in. That came in a scenario where you have no chance of getting back in this game. What do you have to lose? You finally throw it. Like, we're at the point where, I'm sorry, there's no return, and I love the faith, but listen, you're 1-4, your offense is completely broken, it's the worst in the league, your defense has totally regressed, your coaching is now getting questioned when last year it was top of the league, right? I mean, everything is going wrong, and it starts with with the quarterback, as we talked. And I'm not saying that's all Deshaun Watson's fault, but everything from there bleeds into every aspect of that organization. And now you're staring down the rebuild where you're going to be set back another 3, 4, 5 years at a rebuild. It's like we're in an insane asylum, right? It's like reality isn't what we thought it was. Everything is going wrong, and it all started when you gave your quarterback $230 million.
Right. And it's like at this point, a lot of the fixes, it might be too late and it might be the wrong solution to your problems, but it's almost going to get to a point where you're going to have to do something. You know, they have kept it status quo to this point, not change the play calling, not change the quarterback. You trying your best on the offensive line. Eventually, that is going to break. And if you lose Sunday, there's going to have to be a change. And I'm one that's against changing play calling. I kind of want to keep Deshaun Watson starting, but if you lose Sunday, something has to change.
Matt, the Browns are the worst team in the league. And I know you're going to sit here and call that hyperbole. Statistically, right now, with the way the offense is, the Browns are the worst team in the league.
Can't argue.
And that is absolutely pathetic. For all of the money and time that they've invested into this quarterback and to turn this offense into what they thought was going to excel, it hasn't worked. And in fact, it's been a complete failure. I'm trying to put into words like just how far back this is going to set the Browns. It quite frankly, it's terrifying.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's where you think about saving the rest of this season if you can even get there.
No.
We talk about the future. I've got the contract breakdowns, about if we can get out of this and what money we can move and all that. You still are only at a point of trying to salvage this. Not just this season, but trying to salvage Deshaun Watson. Because here's the thing I want to make clear to everybody else.
Stop that.
You've got no other option right now. It's not like you get the draft tomorrow. It's not like tomorrow I can say, hey, we're going to enter the draft early.
No,
we put Quinn Ewers on our team. Like, there's nothing you can do today, tomorrow, or next week. So you still have to be in the Deshaun Watson
business. There's nothing you can do to salvage Deshaun Watson. There's something you can do to salvage this team. Not this season, not Deshaun Watson, but this team for the future. And that starts with just erasing this giant blemish that has Deshaun Watson written all over it.
I'm going to ask these guys to overcome that one way or the other. No matter what happens, the guys that do return to this team, which, unfortunately, I think we're staring down the barrel of quite a few big-name players not being here next year. You're going to look at those guys and say, we need a complete reset going into 2025. That's for the future. That's for the future. And you will get there no matter what. So at this juncture, where we're at this exact moment, you got no choice but to continue to be in on Deshaun Watson.
But
I know it's painful. It sucks.
No,
I don't like it, but that's all you have right now.
It's not all you have.
It is.
In terms of quarterback play, we're never going to reach that level this season where you saw with Joe Flacco. I'm not saying that's a possibility, but I'm saying you have to start to erase the damage that happened the second Deshaun Watson signed that $230 million guaranteed contract, because everything that brought upon you is catching up with you. The lack of cap space, the lack of draft capital, it's all coming now, and it's all bleeding at the worst time possible, and it's all because of that contract.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You're right.
You have to start to separate yourself from it. You have to.
I at this point, I guess I don't.
You do.
Yeah, I really don't.
You know what? If I have to cut off my legs, cut off one arm, at least maybe I can keep one arm.
You're trying to
play games on my phone.
I have the same mindset of I'm more worried about the future now and trying to keep something together. But you've got the rest of the time to do it. You lose Sunday, Watson looks bad. They're gonna make that move. They're gonna have to make that move.
It should be done now.
But I guess I just don't. Does it solve to go to Jameis Winston? Really? That's going to be your ultimate test.
We're talking about solving different things.
And here's the other flip side of that. You go to Jameis Winston, and he does provide you that spark, and things work, and people are going to scream, should have done it 2 weeks ago, right? Maybe we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in.
Okay.
Well, at least at that point, you'll have your ironclad answer that Deshaun Watson's not the answer. I'm not saying that I expect Jameis Winston to come in and that all of a sudden that switch is going to flip. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It could, though.
Right.
It could. We don't know.
And the fact that there's even that minimal 0.001% chance, dude, cut your damn losses.
Yeah. That's I think which is where we differ. There might be a point that you're right. We have to cut losses. I'm not there yet. I don't know why. 5 games in, I can't be there yet. Now, how Sunday goes, we'll see, but I just can't be there yet. And with the money, with the handcuff that you have, that's where we're at. The Browns are doing the right thing, in my opinion. They're keeping Deshaun Watson in there. Now, Sunday's going to tell a different story, and we'll see. And it would not shock me, too, if there is a little element of they're going to keep playing him because everybody else has got to be out there. And it's almost like exposing him or throwing him out there to say, everybody else out there getting their asses whooped, you're going to be in there, too, with them. You're going to be in there, too, with them. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. That's what you're going to have to do. You paid all that money, you're going to go out there and play. If you're healthy, you're going to start. Maybe he gets hurt. I don't know. I really have no idea. Eventually, you will see Jameis Winston. I feel extremely confident saying that. I'm just not ready to pull the trigger yet. Not ready to pull the trigger yet. Sunday will be different. We might have a different conversation next week.
See, to me, that's just, and you're right. I'm going to say it's wishful thinking. You're going to be like, because it is. I know.
Well, that's all we got.
I get it.
That's all we got. That's all we got right now.
But it's you're looking at a bet you place in let's say in. I'm trying to think of the best scenario. You placed a bet in June, right? And you said the you said the Astros were going to win the World Series. Okay, they were down 1-0 to the Tigers in the wild card round, right? And it was the bottom of the ninth. They had 3 more outs to tie the game, right? You could cash out for 10 cents. You lost $1 million, but you might as well cash out your 10 cents.
Keep 10 cents. I get where you're going. That's exactly right. You know, you're sitting there, you're saying, well, there's still this slight possibility that this bet cashes or I cut my losses right now. I get where you're going. I will tell you what, there's been plenty of bets that go belly up anyway, and there's been a few that you hit a rainbow 3 in basketball and I go, yes, somehow they covered. Somehow they did that. That's where you're at with the Browns.
Right now, that bet hitting is about the same probability of me hitting a home run off Emmanuel Clase. And I'm not Kerry Carpenter.
You're not Kerry Carpenter. You're not Kerry Carpenter. And that better not happen today. Guards! Let's go. We got plenty of football to get to a little bit later. We got to start with the Guards. Freaking 308, man. What are we doing? And you got all 4 games lined up for today? Just one. Can we just not get one? Here's what you hope. You hope either the Royals or the Yankees sweep it out, and if we get to a game 5, then you'll get your night game. But 3 o'clock today, TBS, we got Alex Cobb on the hill. And I want to focus a lot on Cobb as we get going for this game today. At this moment, we do not know who Detroit is starting, right?
I don't know.
Haven't seen it. Have not seen the starter. I have an undecided. Maybe Tyler Holton.
On ESPN, it says undecided.
Yeah, it's going to be undecided. So
confidence level in Alex Cobb.
So here's the thing. I was looking at some of the advanced statistics this morning. I don't know what you like on that. He rarely walks hitters, but his strikeout rate is just 16%. So here's what you talk about with Alex Cobb for today. Batters will put the ball in play against Alex Cobb. The great thing is he's got a 61% ground ball rate. So 60% of the balls that are put in play off of Alex Cobb are put on the ground. Good. Keep it that way. That's scrappy. You're not giving up big home runs. You're not giving up big doubles. But again, he's got an average exit velocity, and he's really been subpar on his hard hit rate. So there are times that they hit it hard, but they are hitting it on the ground. The difference is going to be what your offense can provide. Because when I look at Alex Cobb, maybe like a confidence meter in him, I'm a little above average, right? I would feel better with Tanner Bybee. I felt really good about Matthew Boyd. Now you're going to look at Alex Cobb, and you're going to look at the offense more for me. Because what that could allow Stephen Vogt to do. One of the biggest mistakes, other than not scoring runs on Monday, you didn't get to him early. And I get it. It was Tariq Skubal, okay? And there's something to be said about you avoid it, or, you had to face him one. You ain't faced him today, thank God. You got to get some runs early. Because then that is going to open up Cobb, and he's going to pitch a little bit differently, which I think is going to be massive for him today to try to pitch with a little bit of a lead. Whoever they throw, if it's Holton, you already saw. Who's the other guy that had the opener? Gosh darn it. Hang on. Let me find this real quick. Wait. I saw it this morning on Twitter. Hang on. All right, wait a second. Okay. Got it. Gosh darn it. Where was it?
Are you talking about who started in Houston?
No, yeah, they were just running through their options on the Detroit side of it. I lost it. Hang on. All right, for the Tigers, I'm just going to go stats. Pitching, postseason, okay. So obviously it's been 2-2 because Holton got the other 2 starts. The other one, Montero maybe, but there was another name that they brought up that if they could get a start and almost do like an opener, right? Where they put a bullpen guy in there to pitch the first inning, then they go to a guy that they hope they can pitch 3 innings or whatever the case may be.
Bo Brisky?
Nah, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. I think it was Reese Olson. That's who it was. Was Reese Olson. That's exactly who it was. That's it. So their options today seem to be down to 2 things. You either start Holton, he's only going to go a couple innings, or you go opener, throw somebody else, and then they turn over to Reese Olson to try to go 3 games or whatever. Because Olson has played 1 game, 5 innings, only 3 hits, did give up a home run in those 5 innings. Those are your 2 options here for the Detroit Tigers. Now, what they're trying to do is screw with the Guardians, right? They've not been able to get their advance. I know they scout and they get all that kind of stuff, but the Tigers have known since yesterday, get ready to go for Alex Cobb. So you could say there is a little lean towards the Tigers. Then the concern that I have for Alex Cobb was he's not pitched in forever. He's got this finger issue. Is the blister done? I never thought I'd be in this situation. How's his fingernail doing? Back to Trevor Bauer with the drone. How's his finger doing? I think it's a little more even than I want it to be. And what we've seen a lot in these playoffs, maybe more in this series, but around, it works when you're only facing these guys once. The edge will always be to the pitcher when they're facing a guy just one-off. They don't have to go through the lineup a second time. They don't have to go through the lineup a third time. And that is the idea of using the opener. Because then, let's say this plays out right. They use an opener. And they run through, the first 4 batters. They get through Naylor or Lane Thomas, whoever's batting 4th. Then they turn it over to who their starter would be. They run through the second and third middles of the team. Oh my God. Second of the 3, and then the third of the 3. Then they come around to the top of the order. You run through the back 3 again, then they go back there and face the top of the order again. That would only be the second time. Then you pull it out, you go to your bullpen. That leans towards the Tigers, which I understand, and that is how it's playing out. The problem is the usage of a lot of these guys for the Tigers, even with the day off, their bullpen's okay. It's not near what the Guardians are going to be, but I see that as a way leaning towards the Tigers. This game is a pick'em in Vegas on the betting, right? You know the Action Network loves today? The Detroit Tigers. In part because they're going to be able to play these games. Now, the eraser could be Alex Cobb. If he can somehow come out here and give you 5 solid innings, 4 innings, 1 run, that's all great. But it is going to come back so hard for me of getting the first runs on the board. The urgency that'll be on the Guardians for scoring some runs early to take that pressure off of Alex Cobb. Now, I also wonder, too, how much is going to be on Stephen Vogt, maybe for some lineup tweaks. You tried that in game 2. You bumped up Lane Thomas. You dropped back Josh Naylor. Is Fry in the 2-hole working like you thought it was going to be? Guys like Andres Jimenez, who we were like, man, we really need to step up. Not seen that so far. What lineup tweaks are the Guardians going to have to try to ignite this a little bit early today? I got to tell you, man, I am so on. I think whoever scores the first run this afternoon is going to be, I think they're going to win the game.
Hindsight's 20/20, of course, as it always is.
Always is.
But do you think possibly what Stephen Vogt should have done was start Alex Cobb in game 2, given that you knew your offense was going to struggle against Tariq Skubal? If you drop that game, as it happened dropping anyway, that sucks. But then again, you can go in game 3, start Matthew Boyd against his old team in Comerica.
Right.
With your offense expected to actually put up runs this game.
No, that's the thing. You let one slip away on Monday. No, obviously. No question. You let that slip away. Now, again, it's Tariq freaking Skubal, and he's amazing. And the Guardians were kind of, I feel like they lost their scrappiness in that game. And again, what'd they get? 3 hits, and I think 2 of them were without Skubal in the game. So it's hard to get on base. It's hard to manufacture runs. That should not be your problem today. And if I was sitting down with Stephen Vogt, as those guys wake up and go to the ballpark, you know what I want on a giant big sign? It's not Scooble today. That's it. And it's like hard because it would be easy for the Guardians to be tilted in this game and change their approach because they were not scoring runs on Monday. And I just want to chalk that up and say, it was Scooble. Don't worry about it. Now, the same thing goes if you had to face Tyler Holton, right? You smoked him on Saturday. That's where if I'm AJ Hinch, I'm not throwing him. I think you're getting Reese Olson today at some point of it. So that's where, if I'm the Guardians, don't overreact to the one game. Do I want maybe a little lineup tweak? Possibly. And that's kind of where, here's my tweak. I'd like Lane Thomas in the 2-hole. Because if you can get him on, I'm stealing right out of the gate. You know, we saw the Guardians bunt a little or attempt to bunt a little on Monday just to get Scoob out. You know how I was bitching about the Reds about that. But still, they bunt, get on base, get him tilted a little bit. That's where I like Lane Thomas at the top of that lineup today. I really do. Vegas, again, they're on the side of the Tigers in this one. So this is a pick'em game right now. Minus 110 each. Over-under is 7. Guardians minus a run and a half is plus 154. So that's where we sit today on that game. More trends for this as we get ready to go on this. So first off, they like the over in this game. Odd Shark prediction score. They run the simulation 1,000 times. 4.5 Guardians, 4 for Detroit. So they're like 8.5 runs for this. That's their best bet in this. Their last 10-10. Their last 10 games against one another between the Tigers and the Guardians. They have averaged 3.8 runs. We've averaged 3.4. We averaged 7 hits. They averaged 7 hits. We only average 2 walks per game. They're averaging 3. They're striking out 2 more batters per 9 innings than we are. In the last 10, we are 5-4-1 against the spread the last 5 games, or excuse me, the last 10 games coming over there for the Tigers. Cobb in his last 3 starts. Here's your scary thing. He's not started a game since September 1st. In his last 3, though, he's 2-1. 6 innings, 5 2/3, 4 2/3. He has struck out 10 batters in his last 3 starts and only given up 5 runs. His last start against Pittsburgh was stellar. He went 6 scoreless innings and struck out 6, giving up 0.3 walks per hit, whip per inning. That's the Alex Cobb that I need. Dude, that was a month ago. Can he recreate that and be the guy that they're going to need him to be today? That's what I'm looking at. Then you talk about the Tigers being at home. That's another factor in this. You know it's going to be loud. You know it's going to be exciting there. It's going to be big. Under has hit 6 out of the Guardians' last 7 games. They are 5-2 straight up in their last 7 against Detroit. Here's your over, which you like. The over is hit 4 out of the Guardians' last 5 games at Comerica. For Detroit, the under has hit 6 out of their last 8 games and 8 out of their last 10 at home. So again, I like the over, but all the trends kind of tell you the under in this as we get ready to go. So for the Guardians today, big key for me, get those runs early, try to get them a little bit off their pitching matchup, because also it's going to speed up AJ Hinch, right? You score a couple of runs, I don't think he's giving this game up, so he's going to maybe have to move up his pitchers. That's where you get difference for tomorrow. Man, this game is so big today. This game is so massive today on what you can do to speed up things, either for the Guardians or for the Tigers, because of the implications you're going to have for tomorrow. Tariq Schoolboy starting tomorrow. There's no way he's going to start tomorrow, right? Unless it's, I don't know, man.
No way.
Guardians win today. Do you throw him out there for 3 innings? I don't know.
No.
What, like this has got to be everything. This has got to be everything. Because, again, if you can get after them and have them burn a lot of their bullpen, man, are you going to be set up for tomorrow. And I'm talking early, man. I'm talking you get guys on, you steal, you run, you do what you need to do to get the first 2 runs on the board today. Oh, so big. I love it, man. 3 o'clock today. We'll get going with the Guards. Super excited for that. We'll get our official wagers a little bit later today, but I'm feeling the Guards. You know how I roll with it. All right, back to the Browns, because I got a lot of trade things this morning. So CBS Sports ran through a trade for every single NFL team. And I mentioned this one with Noah Weiskopf. For the Browns, Tyler Sullivan says, go get Andre Dillard out of Green Bay. And he writes, the Browns aren't really in a position to be buying this year, but if they're going to add anywhere, it would be on the offensive line. Watson's been bombarded all season. What are you going to get for him? What? You've got your tackles. They're just hurt, and they're not in there. Or when they are, they're not playing all that well. You might actually need a guard at this point more than a center. Tackle. You might need a guard more than anything. That just made me keep thinking about Jack Conklin. What the fuck is going on there? What are we doing? And I understand this injury was separate of the other one, but you get Jack Conklin back, that's like making a trade, and you don't have to do anything. He better play. I keep saying this. It's been 5 weeks, man. He better play this weekend. Now I go over to SI and their deadline, and it wasn't so much about moves that they thought every team would make, but they just ran through. Matt Verdame did all of the wide receivers that are in the final year of their deal or guys to watch. Amari, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Thielen, who's hurt, Christian Kirk, KJ Osborne, Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, like all these guys that ran through of when their deal is up or potentially being moved. And it comes back to the Amari Cooper question. Is it time to make a move with Amari Cooper?
Yes.
And I think Sunday, for a lot of reasons, is going to tell you how things go. But I'm starting to really lean towards the yeah. And I think there's two things to be thought of here. Number one, if he's not fitting in the offense, if they're trying to throw him the football and it's still just not working, from a strict scheme X's and O's standpoint, you would say yeah. But the other thing just gnawing at me, you need to get as much capital as you can for the future.
And where are we saying that's so absurd to me that we're at a point where we're discussing that Amari Cooper isn't a fit for this offense?
He was the offense, right?
Then what are we running, Matt? Did you see what he did last season? Did you see what he did in Texas? 200-plus yards. What are we doing? We're talking about Amari Cooper can't fit into an offense.
You know what's going on.
That's ridiculous.
You know what's going on here. They brought Ken Dorsey in. They changed everything, and it looks like crap. That's it. Yes, Watson deserves the blame. Yes, the offensive line. I am of the strong belief that they brought in this Ken Dorsey stuff, and it's not working. That's it. That's what's going on here. They went all in to try to build this offense for Deshaun Watson, and it's going really bad. So now, eventually, I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to yell at Kevin Stefanski to scrap everything. And that's really hard to do in the middle of a season after you trained all off season and you implemented what we're going to do. But I'm going to walk into that building sooner rather than later and say, forget everything. That's it. Forget everything that we have done related to what Ken Dorsey has brought here, because it ain't working. We're going to go back in this direction over here. We're going to go back to what Kevin Stefanski does. Now, the problem is Andrew Berry has built this roster up to go in this way. He didn't sign a bunch of tight ends this offseason. He didn't keep a fullback around. They went all wide receivers. It's not working. All right, man, we're going to have to make do with what we can. We're going to flip this around. Now, that also coincides with what? Eventually, Nick Chubb will come back. Now, you're going to laugh and say, how can you run behind that offensive line? I get it. I think we are at the point of all the things going on. Okay, and this is actually maybe a great Twitter question. What's the first thing that you would do to try to fix the Browns? Bench Watson? Take away play calling from Kevin Stefanski? Scrap the Ken Dorsey influence? What's the first thing that the Browns should do to try to fix this? Bench Watson? Have Stefanski give up play calling? Or scrap the Dorsey influence? Is there a fourth option you could think of? Not really. Of all those problems, that's the three things that are within the power of the Cleveland Browns right now. Benching him, benching Stefanski, or benching Ken Dorsey. Actually, I like that better. If you had to bench somebody, who would it be? Watson, Stefanski play calling, Ken Dorsey's offense. You had to bench one of those things right now. What are you doing? Now, you know my answer. It's very clearly Ken Dorsey. In the ranking of those things, I'm benching Dorsey, then I'm benching Watson, and then my third option, which I'm just not going to do, is bench Kevin Stefanski as the play caller. Of all the things we've seen, I know what it looks like with Deshaun Watson here. I know what it looks like with Kevin Stefanski here. Ken Dorsey, honestly, is also the easiest thing to do. He's the newest thing. Fall back on your other stuff. Fall back on what you did last year. And yeah, okay, here's another conversation in this whole thing. You know, everybody freaks out about Joe Flacco and what he's doing. He's doing it in Indy. Does that then take away a little juice from Kevin Stefanski? Because people would want to say, look what he did with Joe Flacco. Yeah, well, no, Joe Flacco's doing it over here now. Maybe that was more Joe Flacco than it was Kevin Stefanski. I don't know. I guess it's just a conversation I had with somebody this week. They said for everybody that wants to sit there and give flowers to Kevin Stefanski for winning with 5 different quarterbacks and doing it with Joe Flacco and all that, well, you see Flacco kind of doing the same thing over there in Indy now.
But yeah, but at the same time, like, of course, a coach can't do everything by himself. You need both parts.
Sure.
If both parts aren't working, the machine's going to break.
Right. No, I get it. And that's a confidence thing.
It's also Shane Steichen, who's an offensive genius.
Okay, but here's the other thing, too. That's also Joe Flacco coming into a situation where he could be free. And I know, and here's what I'm talking about, right? He came in with all of this drama and all this other stuff going on. But if he came in and fell flat on his face, everybody go, well, yeah, he's a 38-year-old quarterback and all this other stuff happened. It is what it is. I see him playing free. I see him playing free in Indy. Nobody's expecting him to win games. He can go up there and sling it around. Look what happens, right? That comes back to another problem with Deshaun Watson. He's playing tight. He knows every time he drops back, he's not feeling good anytime he drops back. For one reason or another. Every time he drops back, we all hold our breath watching the games. Going against Saxon, throw an interception here. It's a horrible way to play the game. It's a horrible game to watch,
well,
too.
Nobody can fix that but him.
No, that's not true either. To Noah's point, we talked to him, start with the short stuff.
No, I'm talking about in terms of, you're talking about him playing tight and being nervous, like and being scared. Nobody can fix that but him.
No, I understand.
Give him the tools to get over it.
Well, maybe that's where, and that's something we know. I differ with Noah. Maybe benching him is the right option. There's two ways to handle that. It's almost like when you get sent down to the minors in baseball. You either go down there and you pull a Kyle Manzardo. I'm going to go down there, fix my swing, get my swag back, and I'll come back and be able to help the major league team. Or you go down there, you sulk, you're pissed off, and you never come back.
Yeah, and if you were a betting man, which one do you think Deshaun Watson, what route that would go down?
Well, the problem is benching him, he's getting no work. Benching him, you get practice. You get maybe a mental reset. I don't know. He needs a vacation. He needs we need the bye is really what we need.
He needs to retire.
He's got the money to do it, I guess. But like that's in essence a lot of the problems that we're coming to with Watson. He needs a mental reset, and now is not the time for one. Your reset could be, we're scrapping this stuff with Ken Dorsey.
What was he doing then during the whole time he missed the last half of last season? During this whole off season where he's getting healthy. I don't want to hear the mental reset.
No. I actually think he came into the season in a good place. I actually think this season, again, you knew Dallas was going to be tough, but you came into the year, we all had optimism. Whether or not you like Deshaun Watson or not, we all started this season in a good place. It's just gone to hell in a handbasket the last month. It's been so quick. It's like trying to drink through a fire hose. You're just getting slammed. There's no way. It's suffocating. The Browns are being suffocated right now. And we have got to find a way just to loosen this up. What's going on isn't working. The status quo is not working. So eventually, they're going to have to do something. That goes back to our Twitter question. What are they going to do? For my money, and for also what I think might be the most impactful thing, is scrapping everything with Ken Dorsey. And if you got to use him as the scapegoat or as the fall guy, do it. We'll get to Robert Saleh in the morning update, right? You have got to sometimes have that. The Browns need a shake. That shake would be any of our three options. Benching Watson, taking play calling away from Stefanski, or firing Ken Dorsey. I'm not talking about the defense. They got their own problems. Those are all more internal. I think those things are more, I guess it's all internal, but what I'm saying is that's just, they don't tackle well, and I think Jim Schwartz is getting exposed a little bit. Figure that out over there. I'm focused on the offense right now. I need a slap in the face. They have got to do something to wake up. And even if they did that, you might just come back with, they are just void of talent. Maybe that's where we're at too. They are just strictly void of talent, but I can't buy that. I can't buy that. I've seen this team with lack of talent, and I've seen them produce with Kevin Stefanski. Find a way. Find a way. And it's all under the guise that eventually you still might have to make that move with Deshaun Watson.
Of course you do. Like we're fighting the inevitable. And even if you're going to sit here, first thing I would do is I'd bench Watson and I'd scrap the Ken Dorsey influence. But then again, if you're talking about scrapping the Ken Dorsey, you're talking about scrapping the Ken Dorsey offense. Well, sure, let's go back to Kevin Stefanski offense. You don't have the personnel. You don't have Nick Chubb. You don't have Harrison Bryant. You don't have, like, it's impossible because you set yourself up in this box.
Who
and now
would
you're
ever
trying
thought
to
we'd be
escape
sitting here wishing Harrison Bryant was back here, by the way?
It's disgusting is what it is, and there's no way around it this season. This season is a scrap heap of remains that we thought was going to be a well-oiled machine.
But I've got no choice but to continue to try to pull it out of the fire, okay? And that's the other mark of this team. When you start getting apathetic, when you start letting it slip away, it's over. They will fire Kevin Stefanski if that happens. They will fire him if they have no choice but to show up every day and try to get it done. You might feel like you're bailing water off the Titanic, okay? I get it. But you better get your bucket and you better keep trying. The ship is going down, man. The band is playing. Leo's holding on to the door, all right? Keep bailing. Keep trying to throw that water over the side because you got nothing else left to do. Because once you stop, it's over. Once Joe Bitonio gives up, it's over. Once Myles Garrett gives up, it's over. And you ask a lot of those guys as individual professional athletes, as human beings and men, to not give up. But that's a lot on the coach, too, to keep it going. And you hear it. And I know it's ad nauseum, and sometimes it pisses you off when Stefanski keeps giving you the same old line of bullcrap. We're going to show up and we're going to keep working. And I need to coach better, and we need to play better. But that has got to be the message. There's no point right now giving up. You can't. I'm not. I know it's bad. I know this sucks, and I hate it. I'm not done yet.
But you can give up on Watson without giving up on the team.
Well, that's your point.
That's not one and one.
That keeping him in there is giving up.
It is.
You could say that. You could say that keeping him in there is giving up because you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. You're saying he signed this contract. We're just going to put him out there. And I don't have a better way to describe this, and I'm not saying this is how the Browns are operating, but this is the easiest way for me to do it. It's, we're going to leave you out there because F you, man.
I get you.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they could be of that mindset. Say, we're going to leave you in there because screw you, man. This is your problem, and you got all this money, and we're going to expose you for what you are. That's spiteful, and that will also cost Kevin Stefanski his job. I'm not saying that's what's actually happening, but I'm sure, at least for me, there'd be a little part of like, dude, F you. Go back out there. Go back out there. Or it is a point, which is something we talked about before the season, and maybe we're there. They were going to put this all on they were going to put this all on Deshaun Watson to say, you're either going to sink or swim. We're going to put this all on you. You are healthy. You have been in this offense for a little while now. You are a veteran player. You've played a lot of football games. We are going to throw you out there, and if it goes bad, that's on you.
I see, but I think keeping him in is almost not a disservice to him. It's a service to him. You're giving him another opportunity, countless times again to make this right when it's never going to be right. At this point, just tell him to leave. Tell him to stay home.
No, I mean,
tell him to go to the Cleveland Food Bank, spend the rest of your time working there because you owe the city something, and you've given us nothing. Nothing.
You also have to look at it from a standpoint that you might have to make that decision, and the ramifications up to your point of making the decision of sending him home. There are going to be some guys in that locker room that think it's the wrong move.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm just saying, there's always going to be that where you're like, wow, well,
thing, they're
now
not the
that could be the
coach.
shakeup of I wasn't doing enough to help him. But again, I go back to between the lines. We talked about this a lot. Those guys know what's actually going on. In that film room, when they're breaking these plays down, they're going to sit there and they'll go to Deshaun Watson and go, what are you doing here, man? What was going on here? They actually know. So if you get to that point, there might be a wave of relief, but there also could be some resentment.
I don't care if there's resentment because I bet you my bottom dollar most people in that locker room would look at that move and be like, yeah, honestly, that's probably the right thing to do. As a coach, you look at your team, you say, we fucked up. We believe in you guys. You're not the problem. Yes, they're not playing well enough and they need to fix their shit too, but we messed up big time by giving this dude this contract and expecting him to take us places we can't. Let's try and make this right and get you guys somebody that we know can use your talent and get us to the place where we thought we were headed last year and not be bottom dwellers for the next 4 or 5 years like we're about to be.
Then you also are going to ask these guys that if the flip to Jameis Winston eventually becomes the thing, you better save him too. There's also a part of saving Deshaun Watson from himself. You know, like that's kind of where I maybe have a disconnect of it, where I'm trying to think.
What do you mean saving him from himself?
Like if you just keep putting him out there over and over and over and over and over again, that's not doing anything for him. Like, and this thing, it's a big boy league. I'm not saying that. And I just talked about throwing him out there to expose him. But eventually you might get to that breaking point where you're actually just doing a lot of further damage. And I'm not talking about what you could get for him on the trade market or what you could do with that. It's just, I disagree a lot with what Noah said. If you bench Deshaun Watson, I think it's all over. I really do think it's all over at that point. And we might be staring down the barrel of that. That might be exactly where we're at. But when you do it, eventually there might have to be a factor of saving him from himself. Saving him from the defenses, saving him from everything else that's going on. You might be saying, I don't care because he's not going to be my quarterback moving forward. Who cares?
I don't. I certainly don't.
Yeah. Final thing, this is from ESPN this morning, and it's a lot of the contract discussion, okay? So Dan Graziano tiered, not these tiers, like level tiered, all of the quarterback contracts in the NFL. So like tier 1 was free and clear. Guys that are on cheap deals, they could literally move on if they wanted to. They're the most manageable circumstances. That is Brock Purdy. That is Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. That's Will Levis, Aiden O'Connell, all that. Then you have your year to year veterans, guys that have shown you a little bit, but not enough, and they're kind of year to year. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones. Then he had an interesting tier of call me in 2 years. On these guys. Jordan Love, Derek Carr, who's now hurt. Those are the only two. In good shape for now, but massive deals on the horizon. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. The class of 2027, guys that are not going to get another deal for at least another 3 years. Lamar, Burrow, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Tua.
How is CJ Stroud not on that?
Because he's class of 2028. Class of 2028, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young.
Yeah, but they're not going to let him go out on his last year without a deal.
No, they'll get him. We got to play 3 years. Can't get an extension without 3 years in.
Yeah,
so
but that'll be
next year, after next year.
24, 25, 26.
Yeah. Well, he's just talking about Here are your 2023 first rounders who are under team control through 2027 via the 5th year. So all he's talking about is like doomsday scenario. At least they have them through 2027. But you're right. CJ Stroud will be in a fat contract next year. If anything has been shown through this whole thing is do not wait. Do not wait seriously. To pay your guys. But that's that class. Then long-term planners. They have guaranteed structures in the deal. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. Then you've got your rookies, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Jacoby Brissett, Bo Nix. Complicated rookies. J.J. McCarthy.
Did you just say Jacoby Brissett's a rookie?
Oh, I'm sorry. They did they did it team-wise. So I meant to say Drake May.
Okay.
So what they meant was like the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, the Chicago Bears, they all have rookies on their deal. They ain't going anywhere, but you got to see how it plays out. Then you have complicated rookies. Minnesota, what do you do with Daniels? What do you do with J.J. McCarthy? Atlanta, what do you do with Kirko? What do you do with Michael Penix? Then there's one. And they list this as the ultimate albatross, Deshaun Watson. And he said, yep, There's no way out of this. He is signed through 2026 with $93 million of guarantees left. Graziano says the earliest exit point is 2027. That ain't happening. Here's the write-up. Yes, this one. So the Browns signed Watson to a fully guaranteed $230 million, restructured it to save cap space, so he's making 1.1 minimum salary, but he's owed $46 million guaranteed of each of the next 2 seasons. He's been horrendous. Yes, we know. Here's the interest that we all have. If the Browns cut Deshaun Watson this offseason, they would take on $172 million of dead cap. Let me say that again. $172 million in dead cap. They still owe him $92 million in cash. You know what I tweeted out yesterday, Matt? The $92 million that they still owe Deshaun Watson is more money than the Pittsburgh Steelers are spending on their entire offense this season. That is more money than the LA Chargers are spending on their entire offense this season. That's what you owe Deshaun Watson. He says if the NFL suspends Watson again, which is not going to happen, the Browns could void his remaining guarantees and the dead cap for cutting him to just drop it to $82 million. This is far and away the worst situation in the quarterback situation in the NFL, and probably the worst ever.
All right, here's your way out. Yeah. Here's your way out. Here's the only thing that I can think of right now.
And if you go where I think you're going to go, please keep this savory and above board. That's all I'm going to say.
This is also hinging on the Browns will not be competitive for at least another 3 years. At least.
What did I say yesterday?
At least.
There's a world that signing Deshaun Watson was more detrimental to this franchise than Art Modell taking the team away.
What you do, and maybe we can collaborate on this, because this is the only thing I can think of.
We're solution-oriented people here. We'll find this out for the Browns. Go ahead, I'm listening. No idea is bad idea.
June 1st.
Post-June 1 cut.
You cut Deshaun Watson.
Correct.
No doubt about it.
You spread
use
that
your
money
first
over
round
2
draft pick. Use your first round draft pick. Go draft Luther Burden or the Tate kid from Arizona.
Okay.
Spend every... okay, that's fine. Draft your typical corner. Spend at least 3 picks on offensive line. You're going to be shit the next year. You draft Arch Manning in the first round.
What do you do with the money? What do you do with the money, buddy?
Well, at that point, your team's going to be shit for 2 years. Horrible, like bottom of the league for 2 years.
But what I'm talking about is, you're just saying full rebuild rookies. I get it. What are you going to do with the money, though? $172 million again, dead cap. What are you going to do with that?
What do you mean? What am I? You can't do anything with it.
Your plan is probably fine, but what I'm saying is, how are they going to my focus is what are you going to do with the money? I thought you were going to come up with some idea to try to get out of this money or something.
No, there's no possible way to.
I know you can't, but what I'm saying is that at that point you might have to play him again. People are just discrediting that too.
What do you mean you have to pay him?
Take that away.
Wait, what did you just say?
It entered my mind for a second that they go, we don't have a choice. We have to play him next year, too.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
No.
We all know. We all see the writing on the wall.
No.
At that point, you would just go sign a Jimmy Garoppolo or something for a couple $1 million.
You're entering the realm.
I get it. Like, again,
you're entering the realm of it's a complete full rebuild, and you are going to have to ship off pieces like, cover your ears, Myles Garrett.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm
Denzel
saying.
Ward.
You got to get off that money. You're going to have to get off that money.
You have to. Because at that point, what's the point of having Myles Garrett on a scrub team wasting? I'd rather see Myles Garrett go somewhere else and continue his Hall of Fame career than sit and then watch him waste away 2 years on a 3-win football team.
You, at that point, would get off the money and also get a first-round pick back.
There's no other way.
And I hate having this conversation.
There's no other way.
I hate having this conversation.
There's no other way.
But Deshaun your point, Watson, if you know you're going to be set back
Deshaun Watson ruined your franchise for the next 5 years.
So the problem is, okay, with where we're at and the eggshells the Browns are going to walk on, bro, we've all seen a lot. That's stuff that people would walk away from this franchise. That's the kind of stuff that we're talking about, that they would walk away forever. And they would never let that go. We're already in the situation.
About fans?
What's that?
You talking about fans?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's the reality that happens. You can would you rather start a rebuild and want to be good in 3, 4, 5 years, or do you want to be this middle of the road? That's even a stretch.
Yeah.
Shit team for the next 3, 4 years, hating your Sundays, knowing there's no future.
No, I get it, 100%. And that's again with where the Browns sit. There are not many paths to get to the future, but they can still pick wrong ones.
How about this, Matt? How about this one?
Still pick a wrong
You're
one.
never going to see Nick Chubb play another playoff game for the Cleveland Browns.
That's probably right.
You're
that probably right.
Let that sink in.
Right. Quick update on our Twitter question before we get to morning update.
Heavily 65% bench Watson.
What's the first thing you do? Bench Watson, have Stefanski give up play calling, scrap the Ken Dorsey influence.
22% scrap Dorsey influence, 12% Kevin Stefanski give up play calling.
Mike, let the football people do their job. Let Stefanski run the offense. He's had success. Clee Chatter, scrap Dorsey, then get back to 12 personnel with Jameis. Buck, all three. Give Dorsey the keys to the car. Well, then that's contradictory. What do you mean? You can't say give up Stefanski play calling, but then scrap the Dorsey influence. You can't do that. Have Ken Dorsey come in to call plays of Kevin Stefanski's offense. That doesn't work.
It's not going to work regardless. You don't have a core. Look, Ken Dorsey could whip up the most genius McVay-Shanahan mixture offense that would, with Josh Allen, would be the best prolific offense in the NFL. Baby's capable of that, but it's not going to happen. Not even half of that, not even a quarter of that, not even a tenth of that with Deshaun Watson.
I get it.
So Ken Dorsey will be out of here. Maybe not his own fault. But that's the reality of it, and
That's easy.
I will pre-order a Browns Arch Manning jersey right now.
That's the step one of all of it. All right, we got the morning update coming up. We'll get to the grid. Plenty more baseballs. We kick things off today at 3:08 versus the Tigers. We'll get ready to go for that. Do not forget, get over to Lakewood Truck Park. We're going to be there at 1 o'clock today, baby. Presented by our great friends at a Lipton Hard Iced Tea. Bro, I had one there on Saturday. Woo! So very tasty. Jensen's going to be there. Padone's going to be there. You never who else will stop by. So if you're looking for a place, get out of work a little bit early. Take that half day. Slide it over to Lakewood Truck Park. You know what I'm looking at right now. See who's there. Original Steaks and Hoagies was there the other day, man. I love it. I love it. What do we got today? Bearden's is back. Let's go. Have you ever had a Bearden's burger?
No.
Steak burger? Oh, buddy, bro. You're missing out. We just had it this past weekend. Bearden's is a West Side staple. They have delicious steaks. Their burgers are unmatched. They're there with Samurai Dynasty and Smoke This at 4 o'clock. But you can get there for Bearden's from 11 to 3. So get on work. Get on work. Push that meeting away. Go ahead and on your Teams and just click that busy. Put that red up there for you. Get on over to Lakewood Truck Park, presented by our friends Garage Beer and Lipton Hard Iced Tea. Hang out. Supposed to be these are the days that I love, man. When the sun's out, but it's in the 60s, get that hoodie on, sit outside, and also at Lakewood Truck Park, which I love. You're outside, plenty of TVs. You have plenty of TVs to watch the game. So we'll see you there at 1 o'clock today with Jensen and crew for our pregame shout-out, pregame there for the Guardians game coming up at 1 o'clock at Lakewood Truck Park. So we'll see you over there. Also, don't forget Wednesday, we got Drennan coming up. Had great shows last night with the return. I watched a little James Rapine, Andrew Fox Miller. Things are bad down there in Cincinnati, too.
Better than here, I'll tell you that. Way better than here.
They got a franchise quarterback. That's why. They got their franchise quarterback. That is what it is. So here we are. So we got it all for you right here on Big Play. You can always follow us on Twitter X. Follow all of our merch. Follow our horse, Big Play Horse. It's everywhere that you need it right here. All right, break, come back. Morning update, more guards. Get to the grid. Stay with us.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
That's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Even though our strength of schedule was number 1 in the NFL, I think we have the dogs up front. We have the dogs in the back as it relates to our defense. Our defense alone keeps us in these games. Not even talking about offense. Let's just say Deshaun Watson isn't there. We got dogs on the defensive side that's mirroring the potential of the Ravens from 2001 or 2000 Ravens with Jamal Lewis and the boys and Ray Lewis and those guys.
Right.
They won, again, no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but they won without a high-powered offense.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
Let's get going. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. You can always follow us on Twitter X, where, Ryan, you can win what?
A October Ready shirt.
Let's go. We got our Guardian swag. We're getting the Grid Ace. Go follow us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Hit the retweet on that. Let me get there for everybody as well. And I want to make this clear as well. Make sure you retweet the actual tweet. Like, I know we sent out one that says, hey, a few days left to enter. Make sure you actually enter the real retweet on that. So let me hit the retweet on it again. All you got to do, retweet it, follow at Matt Fontana Show. That's how we're over 11,000 or 1,100 there. So we're making our way here. Small. That's all we got, man. That's all we got. Hit the retweet on that for your chance to win that Guardians playoff swag. Well, they're not there winning on Friday. What are you laughing about?
The thoughts that go through my head.
Please do share.
No,
New segment on the show, Thoughts with Ryan.
I was just
thoughtful thoughts thinking with Ryan.
In the chat, I said Arch Manning, because Charles said don't get the Arch Manning jersey. He said it's not a good track record, Browns quarterbacks. And I said, I think Arch should be our savior. I feel it in my court. He said, Arch should probably dictate where he goes, like Eli did. And it made me think of,
okay,
like, how Laramie Tunsil dropped with the gas mask.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
You trying to sabotage?
No,
Arch
I was
Manning
just going to make a political joke.
No. Here's what I would say.
I was going to say I have a video.
Okay. Right. Well, we'll deep fake a video on that. No, I get exactly what's getting brought up there. Think about this, though. You want to, again, try to pull some positives out of this whole thing. Most everybody else got a quarterback. Think about this, okay? Go down this rabbit hole for just a second with me, if you will. This offseason, which teams are going to need quarterbacks? Us, the Raiders, the Panthers, maybe the Rams.
Maybe it doesn't look like it right now, but maybe how does Seattle not get one?
I think they had another year with Geno. Okay, sure. So I'll give you, let's just call me 4 right now. Then I'll give you the year after that. Sure, Seattle, certainly LA would be there. Yeah. Again, New York, with Aaron Rodgers eventually leaving. What happens with Tua? You got a couple years where it's not 7, 8 teams all in one year. Like, really, even just this offseason, I think you have 4 bona fide teams that without a shadow of Tennessee, you got to put Tennessee in there. So this offseason will be Tennessee, the Raiders, us, Panthers, right? Anybody else? Again, wait to see what happens with Tua. And there could be a team that comes out of the woodwork that you have no idea, right? Something fluky, crazy happens. But a positive in this whole thing is a lot of teams got their franchise guy.
Yeah, we've been saying that.
I know, but it's just, it lessens the pool. When you got a first round that Shedeur Sanders is coming out, Carson Beck is coming out, Will Howard's coming out, Jalen Milroe, who's now all of a sudden the hot pick for the number 1 overall pick, things like that.
Please don't put Will Howard in that conversation.
I don't know. He'll be a higher pick because he's a quarterback, but I'm just saying, like Dylan Gabriel, whoever else you want to look at, you are in a smaller pool. You are in a smaller pool to go find a quarterback. And yes, that's exactly where we're at, trying to find a freaking quarterback here already. But God bless, go Browns.
All right, well, it's time to, I guess, finally, thank God. Hashtag let them know. Cavaliers preseason game number 1. I don't know where you're going with that.
Totally
Number 1 in the
cards.
books. They fall to Chicago Bulls 161-12. But who cares? I don't. It's a preseason game. Evan Mobley leads the way, 19 points. Darius Garland, 13. Donovan Mitchell, 12. It is time to let them know.
Now, it's one preseason game, but I read what Danny Cunningham wrote, and you can go subscribe to Danny's new Substack over on his Twitter, Real D Cunningham. And it's all about Evan Mobley right now, right? Like, that's where Kenny Atkinson's influence, what you think this team is going to look like, all eyes are on Evan Mobley. And more specifically, is this core 4 of what you believe going to be your answer come trade deadline? This team will have 4 months to show that this is what you have and it's going to work. Now, I was listening to Brian Winters, and Windy has said he doesn't believe they're going to do anything. Like, unless it is tragically, historically bad, they're going to ride this out. And this is the group that you have assembled. But you got to look at Evan Mobley. And where this team is going to go is really predicated on him. Now, Jaron Allen's got his new contract, which, by the way, they could still trade him this trade deadline, even with that new deal. They did some little back-end work on that to make sure that they could trade him this offseason or this season if they needed to. Regardless, I'm going to look a lot at Kenny Atkinson, but it's going to be a lot of Evan Mobley. And I see 2 ways. There's a chance that Evan Mobley might actually be more of a ball handler for this team this season, or do you just make the move and put him at center? There are people around the league, as you watch Evan Mobley, they say his best spot is center. So then you got to bump Jared Allen out to go to the power forward spot. But it's like, I'm excited. I love Cavaliers basketball. Like, I'm so jacked for this season. I really am. But there's just a lot of things that I'm just like, it's like a little experiment. You're like, this could work out. It could go bad. But I love where the Cavs are at. It was one game of a preseason game. My guy, Karis LeVert, put up a little bit. So again, good start. Good thing he didn't bet it, though, because the Cavs were 2-point favorites as that came around. Betting preseason basketball is really hard. You're out there, you're going to ask, like, you're going to ask JT Thor to finish this out for you and hold on to things. Like, it's a tough go. But the other thing was Dean Wade. You know, forget about a guy like Dean Wade getting some minutes out there. They're asking different things of him this season. It's just the Kenny Atkinson influence. What you know and think of a lot of these guys, keep that mind open. What do you think of Karis LeVert? What do you think of Dean Wade? What you think of Max Strus, George Niang? All of it. Wide open. Love it.
I just pray to God Kenny Atkinson's influence isn't synonymous with Ken Dorsey's influence. Anyway, here we go.
Yeah.
NLDS game 3s last night concluded. Mets beat the Phillies 7-2. They take a 2-1 lead. Padres take a 2-1 lead. They beat the Dodgers 6-5. Dodgers comeback comes a little bit short as San Diego now looks to win it.
Are the Mets going to be like this Diamondbacks, this wild card team, that run that they could go on right now? You had to play a doubleheader to make it in. You get to potentially the NLCS and beat the team that I picked to win the World Series in the Phillies? Woo! It's always somebody. There's always somebody that makes that kind of run. Maybe it's the Mets. I'm not shocked about the Dodgers. I don't think I'm that shocked by the Dodgers.
We both picked
the Padres in that series. We did. So, you know, big markets, that's how it rolls. You know Major League Baseball is salivating to get a Mets-Yankees World Series. They ain't going to get it. It's going to be Mets-Guardians. That's what it's going to be. But you know they're salivating to get that. We'll see how it goes. But fun games last night. We're going to have some fun games today, buddy boy.
All right, well, The Athletic did a ranking of MLB's best playoff atmospheres for the 8 remaining teams in the postseason. Matt, do you care to take a guess about the number 1 through 8?
Best atmosphere? Now, is this historically or is this just like right now?
I think it's right now.
Right now.
Well, let me see if I can make sure, because I suppose that is a big difference.
Because it's like, are you talking about when you walk into the gates right now? Or
well, I don't have access to The Athletic, so I only have the list.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm going to assume it's right now. Because why would it matter historically?
Okay, right now, got to be the Mets. Right?
Mets come in at number 6.
What? Edwin Diaz? Okay. Are the Yankees one?
The Yankees come in at number 3.
Okay. The Dodgers?
The Dodgers come in at number 4.
What? Were the Guardians number 1?
The Guardians come in at number 7.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going to do. Philly?
The Phillies come in at number 2. You're missing 1, 5, and 8.
Well, 8 had damn well better be Detroit.
Detroit is number 8.
Yeah, they better be. I'm going to say the Royals are number 5.
The Royals are number 5.
Then that would
number
leave the
1
Padres.
would be the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it. I mean, San Diego's a great baseball town. Here's the thing. I would say of all of the teams left, they are great baseball towns. New York is a great baseball town. Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, Philly. You know, again, you're in the ALDS, NLDS. You're this far in the playoffs. But you know some bad baseball cities. You really do. Cincinnati's a bad baseball city. Pittsburgh's a bad baseball city. Obviously, everybody looks to St. Louis and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, whatever. St. Louis is always legacy, all that kind of stuff. You got great teams. You got great atmospheres left. And I guess, you know, again, I could live with San Diego and that. Guardians, again, I figured they'd be down there on that list. But how is it not the Mets? You know, Edwin Diaz coming in, like, I don't know. I thought the Mets would be a little bit higher. That's just me.
Maybe if we still had the great John Adams. But.
You know, it's funny. So my wife and I were in the bleachers on Monday, and she was going, they don't do the drum anymore. And I was like,
yeah, how could you?
No, she knew he passed away. But she said, didn't they keep it going?
No, I mean, like, you got to let that die with him, I feel.
Well, no, they did the virtual one, remember?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did that for a season. And then they let it go. And we were talking, and I said, you know, it's unfortunate that he didn't, like, have a son. You know, that would be something that, like, kind of, or, you know, a family member to pick that up, a daughter that's like, I'm just going to do this. But you're also right.
Why did that have to be a son?
Just so individual. Son or daughter, either one. Either one. But the thing is, it's probably just left to go with John. You know, and that's sad. The virtual one never really worked, but it's sad because you go to the ballpark and I hear it. I still hear it, but it's not going on anymore. It's the legacy we lost. The legacy. I'll take that on. My wife will hate me for it. I got to go to every single game, but I'd do it. I'd do it. We walked up to go see his plaque, you know, up there in the bleachers. So it was a great time.
What?
There was a guy in the bleachers. He didn't make it to the 3rd inning.
Yeah, he's blacked out.
Dude. And listen,
what was he drinking?
He was hammered when he showed up.
Oh, okay.
So, like, we get up to our seats, and he had a friend with him.
It wasn't Charles, was it?
I don't know. No, it was not Charles. No, it was not Charles. So we get up there, and this guy, he's standing up for the national anthem.
He's just waving like the flag.
And then he goes,
he loves his country, bro.
He's in the military or not.
He loves his country. What's wrong with that?
And he's just rocking and swaying. So we get through the 1st inning, and then obviously, you know, he's just loud and he's just screaming, and I think everybody's just kind of like, all right, we're having fun, like no big deal, whatever. He goes to, I assume, go to the bathroom. He's walking down. The bleachers are not easy to walk down, right? And he's just swaying, and he gets down there. His buddy comes back. He turns to our, like, there's a group of people around. He goes, where'd my friend go? We go, we don't know. Didn't see him the rest of the game. This guy was plastered. And I get it, because, like, you're excited. You know, it was a 4 o'clock start. So, whatever, you get out of work or you don't even work and you just head over to the bar. That's it. Getting hammered to go to a sporting event, I never. Like, I have a cocktail. I'm fine to have a cocktail. I had a nice summer shandy. Always hit. You know, garage beer is delicious. And I was looking, I didn't see garage beer at Progressive Field. I don't know if I missed it, but
I don't
know. It might not be there.
I have it, to be honest.
So I had a nice shandy while I'm up there, but I'm like, I want to remember the game. I want to have a good time. Plus, you don't want to be that drunk a-hole. This guy was hammered before it even started. He didn't even make it to the 3rd inning. And those tickets were $100 a piece. Enjoy your game. Go Guardians. It is what it is. All right, speaking of what it is, let's go. Ryan Grid time. We are on Wednesday.
Who said I was done with the morning update?
I'm sorry. You pulled the grid up over there. I thought you were ready to go.
Making sure I was ready to go. You said we were going to talk about this in the morning update, so we have to talk about it in the morning update.
What?
The New York Jets part ways with head coach Robert Saleh. This is the first time owner Woody Johnson has parted ways with a coach in season. Quote, he says, "It was my decision and my decision alone." Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich is taking over for Saleh.
So they're saying about Ulbrich that he would be...
By the way, Aaron Rodgers will be on the Pat McAfee show
I
today.
saw that. And they're going to ask...
crazy.
What's that?
Like, what are you going to talk about? Like, you're going to
They're going to ask him. They damn well better ask him.
That's crazy, man.
They have to. Why else would he come on? He knows what he's doing. Now, the thing is, so now there's a report that Saleh was going to fire Nathaniel Hackett. Okay, there's your death sentence when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Can I get you a hot take here? I believe Woody Johnson. I believe him when he says that he didn't speak to Aaron Rodgers. You want to know why? He didn't need to. He didn't need to. He knew what Aaron Rodgers wanted. And he knew that Robert Saleh had lost it. So now they're trying to keep this thing together. You know the crazy thing about the Jets, too? And probably maybe the biggest reason Saleh's not there. The seas have parted for these motherfuckers. The seas have parted. Miami sucks. Jacksonville, all these other playoff teams that you thought you'd be competing with are out. Cincinnati, out. Right now, who do they have to beat? The Raiders. They are fighting with the Las Vegas Raiders for a playoff spot and the Broncos. The seas have parted for the Jets to walk back to the playoffs. Of course they did this. And you want to know the scummiest thing? You know what they did to Robert Saleh? They escorted him out with security. That's... What do you think? He's going to steal a pen? Hey, where'd you get that notebook? That better not be Jets property. I think that is so Bush League. Number one, they didn't allow him to speak to his players. I think that is so weak. Okay, you want to fire that guy? That's fine. Let him go talk to his players. Let him have the dignity to walk out of the building without security. That is. What do you think he's going to do? Trash the place on his way out? Was he going to steal an extra a sandwich from the cafeteria on the way out? Hey, man, you better not take that T-shirt. That's our T-shirt. Take it off. Get something else on. That's such Bush League, man. That's so bad. And, like, I guess, you know, well, I guess I've kind of been fired. They told me just to get out. I said, okay, that's fine.
You didn't need security?
No. Did I ever tell you about that day? I took a picture because I was on paternity leave, and I had the tweet that I almost hit send that said, the door code still works. Whoops. I'm not kidding. I have the picture in my phone that I was about to say.
Probably a good thing you didn't say
the door code still works. Whoops. About that. We move on.
Oh, that's
Hi.
you. That's you.
Hi.
There we go.
Good looking fella right there. All right, let's go. Browns, let's go. Dude, 50 career sacks F's us up. F's us up.
Nah, we'll be good for this.
Hang on 1 second. ALCS tickets are on sale. We're getting ours. Here we go. I still got a run from yesterday. 23 hours. Stop, reset, go.
All right, 50 sacks Dolphins. You could go. Who?
Hall of Famer Jason Taylor.
I just didn't hear you.
Oh. Von Miller. Reggie White. Okay. All right, let's strip the Browns. Jarvis. Jordan Poyer.
Would have worked for that, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I would have worked there, too. That's him in Miami Dolphins. Good fun.
Eagles. Do you have one that you're thinking of?
I mean, Josh McCown. Right, he played there, right? He didn't coach. He didn't just coach.
Oh, wait. I don't know. No, he coached for the Panthers.
Yeah, but he played in Philly.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right?
I think.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. All right. Here we go. All right. Colt McCoy work for any of those?
No.
Buffalo?
No.
No.
All right. Dolphins, Cardinals.
Robbie Chosen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Right? You play for.
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good on that.
Bills, Cardinals.
I wanted to rip Fred Jackson, their running back, but I don't think that works. Ugh. Bills Cardinals. Ooh. Lee Evans? No. I'm trying to think of a bunch of Bills players. Man. Patrick Peterson never played in Buffalo. JP Lossman? There's got to be a quarterback. Fitzpatrick? Did he ever play in Arizona?
Doesn't sound right.
It does sound right. Mitch Trubisky never played in Arizona. Oh, does Trubisky not work?
No.
He doesn't work Eagles?
No.
Oh.
Josh Rosen never played for the Bills? No.
No, that's a good poll. I don't know. I don't think so. God, I feel like there's a running back. I know Chris Johnson.
Frank Gore ever play for the Cardinals?
I don't think so. Chris Johnson went there from Tennessee, but he never played in Buffalo. Marshawn Lynch never played in Arizona. Like Brandon Cooks, no. LaShawn McCoy, don't think so.
Sammy Watkins never played in Arizona.
No.
Calvin
Good poll.
Benjamin? I don't think.
No. I don't think so. I just want to do Eagles just to ace that one out.
Sure.
Eagles Cardinals. Eagles Cardinals.
What team did Isaiah Simmons go to?
Oh, Eagles Cardinals. Zach Ertz.
Yes.
My balls. Got it. Thank you.
I was going to say.
The most overused fantasy football.
Dude.
I got to tell you later, I got reamed for a fantasy football trade I made yesterday. Like the commissioner texted me on the side and thought I was colluding.
I'll tell you if it's
after.
Okay.
I'll tell you after.
Bills Cardinals.
Bills Cardinals.
O.J. Simpson ever played for the Cardinals?
No. Chase Claypool? No.
Never played on either of those.
He was in Arizona.
No, he's not.
He was.
Chase Claypool.
Pretty sure.
Not in Arizona. Okay, fine.
Jake Plummer? Jake Delhomme? Kurt Warner? Oh, man. Larry Fitzgerald, obviously, no. Andre Johnson, no.
AJ Green, no.
Kickers? Matt Prater? Zane Gonzalez? Damn. And we got time. We're in no rush here. We're in no rush here. Carson Palmer, no.
JJ Watt, no. Beanie Wells.
Wow, that's a deep pull on Beanie Wells. I don't think so. Carlos Hyde?
Stump Mitchell.
Stump was the man, yeah. Or is the man. He was former coach, but yeah, I don't think Stump. There's something about a running back. I like, seriously, there's something about a running back that I'm not going to be able to let go on this one. But
Are we sure Frank Gordon played for Cardinals?
yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure.
Texans will be without Nico Collins for 4 games.
Yeah, I figured he pulled his hamstring. That's what I think about Denzel Ward today. Like, you pull a hamstring, is that not just becoming a minimum of 4 games in today's NFL?
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, come on.
Again, Colt McCoy never played in Buffalo, right? I know that. Case Keenum, no. Like, if we really had to rip one, I can't, like, JP Lossman might be the answer. I have no idea. I really have no idea.
Tyrann Mathieu, no.
No. Scooby Wright? Remember the former Browns draft pick? He went to Arizona. He was in Arizona. I don't know if he ever played for Buffalo, but bro, oh my God. And why do I feel like there's one that's just like, again, just like such an obvious one? James Harrison didn't play in Buffalo. I don't. Jim Kelly, obviously, no. Bro. This might be a hard one for us. We are coming up on time, young man.
See, the problem is, I thought of Andy Isabella, but I don't think he's played yet for the Bills. Like, he's on the team, but I don't even think he's taken a snap.
Like his special teams, even? Like, is he even been active? Is that where he is now?
Yeah, pretty sure that's where he is now.
I mean, do you want to take it on the off chance he's been out there for a special team snap or something? It's better than any of the ones. The only other thing I have is JP Lossman, and, like, I can't even think of another really good one, to be honest with you. Like, shoot. Yeah, I mean, Emmitt Smith never played in Buffalo. He went there later in his career. You might have to do it. Nice! Yes! Nice!
Wow.
What a pull, Ryan!
Wow.
Nice!
John Brown.
Nice!
John Brown was the...
Oh, John Brown. I forgot about him. Ken's looking at you like, what are these psychos doing?
I need to look up right now Andy Isabella's
Nice!
stats. I need to look up right now Andy Isabella's stats.
Nice! Yes! Yeah, Bernie or Paul Warfield would have worked Browns Dolphins too. Tyrod was on that list too. Does he have any receptions?
No. So he must have been on special
He
teams.
must have just been
You know he's from Mayfield?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
All right, well,
Yep.
we'll take it. I mean, a win's a win.
A win is a win. A win is a win on a Wednesday. Let's do it. All right, you want to get right to timeout, but you're ready to go for the Guardians later today. Let's roll. All right, 9th of October, let's run through a little bit of time hop. We go back 2 years ago today. Browns fall to the Chargers 30-28. I remember this game because the Browns could not stop Austin Eckler. He had 173 rushing yards and a touchdown. Nick Chubb had 134 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. We drive back down the field. Cade York missed a 54-yard field goal with 11 seconds left, and the Browns fall to the Chargers 30-28 this day 2022. Also this day 2022, Brock Purdy makes his NFL debut, and look where he's at today, man. He is in line for a fat contract as Mr. Irrelevant. We go back to this day 2007. Flo Rida releases Low. Apple bottom jeans, man. I cannot tell. That was Billboard's Song of the Year, by the way, in 2008. I cannot tell you how big that song was for a graduating senior of high school going to college.
Did you get some ass to that song?
No, you went to every party, and it was nothing but apple bottom jeans and
you
boots.
Get any ass?
I mean, I don't think to that particular song, but yeah, I mean, Low was a very big song this day 2007 when it was released. Have you ever seen the Phantom of the Opera?
No.
I have. It's great.
I'm not 900
It
years old.
opened in London this day, 1986. It was number 1 of what would be 13,629 performances of the Phantom of the Opera. I saw it in Cleveland. It's pretty good. So of all the plays I've seen the Nutcracker, I've seen Phantom of the Opera, I've seen like Elf the musical, I've seen the Mean Girls musical. We took our son to see Paw Patrol. Went to go see Batman orchestra playing the Batman, which was great. But yeah, as far as like, everybody see Wicked. I've never seen Hamilton.
I've never seen a play in my life.
There's a world that, like, when my wife and I retire, we just become season ticket holders at Playhouse Square. They have that. Like, just go on a Wednesday night to go to see a performance or something like that. Phantom of the Opera is really good, though. Of all the ones I've seen, Phantom of the Opera is probably my favorite. So, open this day in London, 86. This day, 1938, the Cleveland Rams and the Chicago Bears play only one of 4 NFL games in history without a penalty. Not a single penalty was called in that game since 1938. You will not have that game for another 100 years on today's day and age. This day, 1905, the first ever sanctioned World Series begins. The New York Giants beat the Philadelphia A's 3-0 in Game 1 of the first ever sanctioned World Series. This day, 1781, the Americans began their bombardment of Yorktown, which would prove to be the final battle of the Revolutionary War.
Nice.
That was the last scene in The Patriot. Okay. Cornwallis is there. They walk out with the white flag. Screw you. Take that. Here we are. Very happy birthday goes out to Rube Marquardt. It's a Hall of Fame pitcher who was also born in Cleveland. Annika Sorenstam, former Browns offensive lineman Robin Oben. I loved Robin Oben. Darius Miles, George Kittle, John Lennon, Bella Hadid, Eddie Guerrero, Sharon Osbourne, and Tony Shalhoub, all celebrating birthdays today. Just one for you on the movies and TV side of things. This is a television show that debuted this day, 1984. It all takes place on the island of Sodor.
Island of Sodor?
Yes.
This is a show, 83.
84.
84.
84 show. It all takes place on the island of Sodor.
It's like a fantasy show?
It's a kid's show.
Oh, it's a kid's show.
Kids show. So they've been new incarnations of it, animated, and they actually still have reruns of the old school ones that I watched.
This show was not animated.
Originally, no. Originally, it was not. You're right. And this was one of my favorite shows when I was like 5 years old. My son loves this show now, too.
What?
He's got all the toys.
Not Teletubbies.
No, he does love Teletubbies, but it's not Teletubbies. It's a mode of transportation.
Thomas the Train.
That is correct.
I didn't know that was on an island.
Yeah, Sodor is the island. So it's like Thomas and Henry and Percy and James and Gordon. And then the old, like literally the original run from the 80s, there's a channel on Samsung TV. It just runs at not 24 hours a day, but like there's Bob the Builder 24 hours a day. There's Teletubbies 24 hours a day. There's a channel that runs a lot of the old school Thomas. You know, George Carlin, who's like one of the, a filthy ass comedian, one of the best of all time. He narrated a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine. So did Alec Baldwin. And they would just, it was all model trains. And they would just, do the episodes and all that. It all took place on the island of Sodor. There we are with Tom's Tank Engine, this day, 1984. All right, from Noah, the Browns are signing safety Trey Dean to their practice squad. So they had a lot of, did you see that? They released 3 guys and 3 practice squatters yesterday. So I'm assuming there might be some moves coming in. Maybe it might be activating. We talked about that with Noah. Do you expect Nick Chubb to play this weekend? I don't.
No.
Probably next week. Devontae Adams out again this week as they try to facilitate that trade and get it done. Oh, you want the fantasy football trade?
Yes. Okay. I'll tell you if it's ass or not.
All right.
I'm not going to mince words either.
Sure. So I am in.
Before you tell me the trade,
yeah,
I need the format of your league.
Dynasty. So this is a dynasty league that I just got into this year. So this was somebody else's team.
Is it PPR?
Yes.
12 teams?
Yes.
Okay.
We're all broken in. There's 4 divisions, 3 teams are in each.
Okay.
Okay.
What does your roster look like? Quarterback, 2 running backs?
Okay, yeah, here's what I'll do. Okay.
This all
matters. This all matters. So the backstory is I made a trade in this league with, frankly, one of my very good friends, one of my best friends. Okay, he's in this league, and then there's other guys in this league that I know. Then there's a group of guys that I have no idea who it is. The commissioner of the league is a buddy of mine. Okay, here's my lineup. I have Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield as my quarterbacks with Matt Stafford and Bryce Young, who's useless. Okay, my running backs: Jahmyr Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker Jr., Justice Hill, Cam Akers backups, okay? I had the first overall pick in the draft. I took Marvin Harrison. I have Amari Cooper. I have Chris Olave, KJ Osborne, Odell Beckham, Tyler Boyd is kind of my backups. Then my tight end is Kyle Pitts. I've got Isaiah Likely as my backup, and then kicker defense, you don't really matter, okay? Here's the trade that my buddy and I were
What's your record?
I'm 2-3.
Okay.
2-3, and I lost last week.
It's not like you're 0-5 and you're
No. Like I compete, but it's up and down. It's like I go back and forth between Baker and Geno Smith. Like Jahmyr Gibbs was on his bye last week, so that kind of hurt me and things like that. So here's the trade in a dynasty league. Okay. I was talking to my friend. He goes, "I need to get rid of Tyreek Hill and Alvin Kamara," and I said, "I'm interested." I was initially interested in just Tyreek Hill. Here's the trade. I gave him Kenneth Walker, Chris Olave, Kyle Pitts, and a number 1 pick for Tyreek Hill, Alvin Kamara, Christian Watson, and a tight end.
Yeah, you lost that trade.
I know I lost the trade. I look back on it, probably a bad idea. My buddy who runs the league wanted to veto the trade because he thought I was cheating. I got pissed. I go, number 1, would I cheat in a $40 league? No. Number 2, mind your own business. Then everybody else in the league's like, oh, collusion. And I go, it'd have been different if I'd have given that up to get Odell Beckham back. Like, I wanted Kamara. Because, okay, here's what they started bitching at me about. Dude, Kyle Pitts and Chris Olave, they're so young. And I said, if you really want me to get into the weeds in this, I will. I think Chris Olave sucks. I don't think he's very good.
Wow.
Then Derek Carr is now hurt. That offense has been exposed, and I think Clint Kubiak's going to get out of there next year. So I don't have high marks for Chris Olave. Now, Kenneth Walker, I did not want to give up Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
that was a mistake. I did not want to give up Kenneth Walker. I'm a big believer in him. But he also had 11 yards last week. Pitts, I don't think he's very good.
No, I don't care about Pitts.
That's what I'm saying. I looked at it from this standpoint. Tyreek is an upgrade over Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara is a slight upgrade over Kenneth Walker. Then you got Pitts versus Christian Watson. I will fully admit that I put too much on Christian Watson, but I think he's going to explode there eventually once he gets healthy. There's a lot out there. Christian Watson takes everything away from the defense to open things up for Jordan Love. Eventually, they're going to throw him the football. I just believe Jordan Love is on the ascension of being a franchise quarterback. He's going to be his number 1 guy. That's my thought process on that. Should I not give up the 1-2? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a trade that I would ever be like collusion
I
or
asked
veto.
my other buddies about
Like,
it. And they
first
go,
of all, I don't believe in vetoing.
you know,
like
and
I think I don't
that's why I
believe in
got so
vetoing.
mad.
I don't believe in
Because I go,
vetoing. But
I understand that maybe I lost that trade. And hindsight, if I'd have slept on it, I probably would have renegotiated the deal. But I made the deal. Don't sit there and micromanage everything. I started getting snippy in there too. I go, you want to set my lineup for me?
Matt Charles says keep trade cut dynasty calculator. Put that trade in it and see what it says.
Where's that?
I think it's just called keep trade cut dynasty calculator.
Keep trade.
He said Google it. It's free.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Dynasty. Oh yeah, trade calculator. Okay, here we go. So team 1 gets Pitts. Okay. Pitts. Olave. I know it's going to say I lost. I get that. See, I don't know. It says early, mid, first. Right now I'm mid pack. So 2025 mid. Team 2 gets Kamara, Watson, Tyreek, and the tight end from Tennessee. It says it favors team 1. That's I get that. I get that. They said if I wanted to even the trade, I'd have to add Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas, or I lost the trade. I'm not saying that I didn't. I get it. But for them to be like, oh yeah, you know, it's not a super flex either, by the way. It's not a super flex. Yeah, okay, I lost the trade. But for them to be like, oh hey, what are you doing here? Collusion. I made a crappy trade, man. Whatever. Sorry.
It happens.
It happens.
Browns did too.
Yeah, we all have. We all have. Okay, I keep looking at it. Bad trade. Bad trade.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I don't believe in Chris Olave. I'm sorry. I just don't believe him. Honestly, I was bummed. You want to know why I'd probably trade him? Because I was so pissed off. I needed him to give me 15 points. 15 points on Monday to win that. And I didn't. Yeah. And now Carr is out. That's how the whole thing started. I said, I'm done with Chris Olave. That's the problem. That's what this all circles back to.
It happens, dude.
And I made a bad trade. I don't know what to tell you. But I was not colluding, and I got really pissed off that they called me out on it. And I wasn't. You know, that's it. That's it. You want a little Jets next head coach?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Ulbrich.
Can I guess?
Sure. So there was 2 picks from Pro Football Talk. So Florio, they picked 3 guys on each side, and then I don't know who Holly is on her. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because she had somebody kind of related to the Browns. So Florio had 3. She had 3. There's 6.
Was the one related to the Browns, Mike Vrabel?
It was. It was their first pick. That was their first pick. Florio's picks: Todd Monken, Steve Spagnuolo, then Ryan Grubb, who's Seattle's DC. Holly's picks.
OC.
I'm sorry, OC. You're right, OC. Vrabel, Aaron Glenn, Lions DC, who's going to get a job, and then Ben Johnson. Yeah, Lions OC. I think they want Ulbrich to. I think Ulbrich is going to keep that job, to be honest with you. But you, me, and everybody know Mike Vrabel's not going to be here next year. He'll be coaching somewhere. It is what it is. You know, I hope it's not around much longer. The Tigers guards! Let's go. Here we go. Let's get our bets rolling. Do we have a starter yet? I don't think so. Right? What are you smiling about?
You're funny.
You just hate my trade?
No. You're guards.
Guards! Ooh, I got a parlay for Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez to each get a hit. Should I put $10 on that?
Yeah.
10 to win 30. Let's go. Need it today. All right, let's build this out. Want to do a parlay. Cobb v. Undecided. Let's go. Guardians, even money, minus 111 on the just win-lose. I love the over for today. I really like the over today at minus 115. I think the Guardians win. Parlay that gets me to plus 256. Do you like it?
I love it.
Like it? Anybody else sprinkle? Well, I guess I got the other parlay with the hits in there.
Junk dunk?
I called that on Monday.
So call it again.
Yeah, I call it again here. Do you like strikeouts for Cobb? Here, let me get you some over-unders here. Total bases, Stephen Kwan, over-under 1.5. Player hits. Guys to get one. You feel like Josh Naylor. Again, it's so hard because we don't know who's going to play. I like Lane Thomas to get a hit today. Let me get you some pitcher props here. Player props. Pitcher to record the win. Alex Cobb to just record the win is plus 475. Again, if I want them to score early, if I want them to get there early, strikeouts, pitcher outs. He's got 11.5. Do you think he gets to the 5th inning or even 4th inning?
I'd say 4 tops.
That'd be your 12. If he gets through the 4th inning, you would cash the over on that. By the way, that's a favorite of minus 140. I like to. Where's the strikeouts in this? Here, I'll just do it this way. Milestone strikeouts. They only have him 3 strikeouts is minus 165. 4 strikeouts is plus 140.
Okay.
So if you do 4 strikeouts and specifically Alex Cobb to get the win, you're up to 850 on a 2-leg boost there. I'm putting a lot on him, man. $2 gets you $20. I might place a little wager on that. We got to go with the Guardians, man. We'll get it done today. Do not forget, Lakewood Truck Park, 1 o'clock today. Jensen Lewis will be there. We'll be hanging out with Lipton Hard Iced Tea and our friends at Garage Beer. So we'll see you over there. Get the Bearden's food truck, which is just so very delicious. And get it done, Guards. Browns for today. Get the injury updates on some of their guys, and we'll get geared up and going for the weekend. Reminder, we are off tomorrow. I've got stuff we got to do. We got appointments, so we're going to be off tomorrow. We will get going for Friday. Ryan, you and I will send out our tweets for our NFL picks for tomorrow.
Okay.
So you want to do that?
Sure.
So we'll get that tomorrow. We're off. We'll talk to you on Friday. Get to go for a football Friday. Get it done, Cards, and we'll talk to you then. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.